Hello and welcome to this online classroom about higher education, how Illinois State University stands out in their industry. First things first, what's the goal here? Well, of course, who is this for? It's not only for other companies in the higher education or other universities. This is for all universities, for all industries to learn from the exceptional work that Illinois State is doing, because the best innovation and thought leadership comes from picking up the inspiration from each other. And actually, what we see at Foleon is that our higher education customers are doing exceptionally well. And why, especially in reaching younger audiences, and why Illinois State, well, they have done such an incredible transition from paper to digital that we'd like to share with others. So we have Brian Beam speaking with us today, and also Joran is doing the chat. So Joran, I'd love to ask you to briefly introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. So my name is Joran. I'm product education manager here at Foleon. So I manage the help center as well as all the in-app messaging. And as Lobke briefly mentioned, I will take care of the chat. So any question you might have, pop it in there and I'll try to answer it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joran. It's great to have you. And indeed, ask your questions, get engaged. That just makes this webinar the most engaging one we can have. And then, Brian, I'd love to invite you to quickly introduce yourself as well.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lobke. Hi, everybody. My name is Brian Beam, and I'm Executive Director of University Marketing and Communications here at Illinois State University. And if you don't know a lot about Illinois State University, we're located in Normal, Illinois. We're a public university of about 20,000 folks. We have about 18,000 undergrads, so we're primarily an undergraduate institution, and six colleges, and UMC itself, University Marketing Communications. We have about 20 people on staff. We're really fortunate to have 5 fully dedicated designers, and it was the work of our design staff that really brought me to Foleon in the first place.
That is wonderful. Very exciting to hear that. And it's great to have you online, Brian. So Brian is in the US. I'm in the Amsterdam Foleon office. And I just always think it's so fantastic to be talking to international customers all over the world. Brian, is it correct that only the marketing and communications department uses Foleon?
That's right. We're really, kind of breaking new ground, at our university to bring in an online platform for our publications. And we're kind of a central service hub, at the university. So we have really clients throughout the university. We service more than just our division. We service clients throughout Illinois State University. And so yeah, there's marketing experts in every college who come to us, and with their publication ideas. We've been doing those in print for years and years, and now they have the option to do Foleon document, and everyone's jumping in.
That's great. Well, thank you for the introduction. I actually collected a few numbers. So yeah, as you introduce yourself, Normal, Illinois, and then just in terms of your Foleon metrics, you've been a customer since January 2022, so over 2 years. And at this moment, I saw there are 12 live docs and there are 5 users in your team using Foleon. So that's really great. Before we move on, for everyone online, thank you for joining. Some practical info will take about 45, 50, maximum 60 minutes, and you can move on with your day. Of course, we hope to share a lot of value, but in case you want to hear us talk about something, definitely pop your questions in the chat and we'll get to it. And the webinar will be available on demand in case you got to jump early. The agenda, we'll talk with Brian about the transition they went through from paper to digital, also about how Foleon as a new deliverable helped their university, and maybe some tips that he would give to others in terms of adapting other deliverables, and how you can set yourself apart. We have a short demo video by one of our internal digital designers reviewing their Foleon Docs. So that's going to give you some design tips and Q&A. Actually, I'm just going to throw questions in as we go, as they come in. So feel free to ask your questions anytime. So, Brian, are you ready to get started and tell us about your transition? Fantastic.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, our group, University Marketing Communications, we are, traditional higher ed group. We have been doing publications for years. In fact, Mike's one of our designers has been working, I think, 22 years in the department. So we are working at a very high level in the publication space. We win international case awards. I'm so proud of the fact that in 2022, our view book won grand gold for essentially being the best view book in the world, which is funny to say, but we're really proud of the work that we've been able to do with publications, and we also have an in-house printer. Printing services is attached to our area, and we run the show there as well. So something else happened in 2022 that was I don't want to say disruptive, but made us kind of rethink our strategy. We had a new president come on, and I had been watching Foleon for about 18 months because we needed a really good, accessible digital platform for our publications. But what kind of gave me a little boost, got me moving, was our new president who came on board, and she is of course, as all of us, proponent of sustainability. She was known to carry around an iPad and eschew any papers that came her way. So loud and clear, I knew that we were needing a solution and needed to pivot and pivot quickly, so that we could accommodate all the needs of our new executive. So
great. So just to check if I heard you correctly, Brian, was sustainability a bigger driver rather than cutting costs on printing in your decision to move to digital?
For us, yes. Okay. And I also have to admit to the fact that we wanted to be seen as a relevant modern workplace, and not like, oh, there's the old paper people who are stuck in their mail services and printing services area. I wanted to kind of reposition our group as digital designers. At Illinois State, our web area is outside of marketing, and it's in the technologies, which is not ideal. So we needed a way that our designers, who are all Adobe publication kind of based designers, to be able to design online, and this was a perfect solution for that.
That's great. And Brian, what I find so interesting is that just a moment ago, we talked to one of your graphic designers who had been with your university for, I think, more than 20 years.
Yeah, right.
So this must have been such a transition for him. And I imagine for a lot of people who probably were just very comfortable and confident in the way they used to work. How did you go through that transition?
Yeah. Well, and you would think, oh, this is going to be a sea change. This is going to be so disruptive. Well, first we talked to our crew about the incoming president, and we talked to him about the fact that we wanted to try to design in the web space, but what I think was very helpful was the fact that on the Foleon platform, we weren't weren't taking HTML classes. I wasn't trying to, make everyone, or have somebody learn something, completely new. We were taking the assets that we're already doing for print publications, and then we said, why don't we take these assets and utilize them and create these online docs in Foleon? We set them up as basically a separate job. We would do the print publication, we'd have all the assets, and then we would use those very same copy and imagery. We would use that on the Foleon platform, and it worked. And the first ones were experiments. Hey, let's try this and let's see how it goes. And to everyone's credit over at your company, that people were there for us when we had the little questions, and kind of took us by the hand and helped us develop those first docs. And that was really important for everyone to get their confidence and getting into the creation of the Foleon Docs.
That's amazing. Yeah, and of course it's always a brave venture that you're heading out on when you can like sign with a new platform. But I've had a look at some of your content. It looks fantastic. In a moment, we'll show something.
Well,
in terms of,
also, I had something else to share on that. The fact that you really needed to find the people in your group who are early adopters. There were a couple folks, and they're on the line. Sean Thornton and Mike Maley, who we're looking for something a little more robust and online and ready for a new challenge. I might say. So you start with those folks, and get them up to speed, and then there were some folks that were a little more tentative, and I'm not sure about this, maybe. So Mike and Sean really helped those folks get up to speed. So we had kind of a couple waves we had early adopter wave, and then helping others, get up to speed on Foleon.
That is a very good point, to kind of like roll it out, but have those enthusiastic early adopters kind of like at the beginning to really drive it forward. Brian, I have a great question that has been asked here. It's by Daniel. I'm showing it on the screen right now. Do you have any plans to use the multiple role types in Foleon so other departments or colleges at your university can utilize the platform, not just your designers? And then Daniel explains, I work at a higher education provider, and since we introduced Foleon, everyone is clamoring to use the platform. But we struggle to figure out how to give non-designers access to creating their own docs. Yeah,
at this point, we have Foleon as a product, basically, of university marketing and communications. If someone wants to sit down and see the platform and check it out for their own use, we can show that to them. But frankly, I'm not. We're not going to be buying any seats for folks outside. I mean, they could choose to invest in that if they wanted. But right now, where we are, we do in our area all of the main publications of the university, the high level pubs, and so right now people are coming to us. We're not really getting a call for that, actually.
And maybe, Brian, just to look back at what you said at the beginning, the way your department facilitates other departments is by creating content for them. So maybe in case other departments make and manage their own content, it would be different.
Oh yeah, we're still somewhat of a centralized system, and I can imagine if you're at a large land grant, I'm not sure where you are, but if you're each area might have a department like this. Well, my recommendation is that each area then would have a seat of Foleon and utilize folks on your campus who are Foleon experts to help train that next group that next college or whomever has purchased some seat.
Great. Thank you, Daniel, for asking a question. And thanks as well, Brian, for elaborating on your answer. Daniel, that is actually a situation that we do hear from a lot of our customers. Not so much the struggle, but we hear that other departments or other companies do expand Foleon to other departments. So my suggestion is to kind of connect with your customer success managers. We could actually make a note to make sure they reach out, to make sure they kind of help and see where they can help you achieve your goals. I want to just quickly go to a poll, because I started a poll without telling you, Brian. It's, what is your industry? Education, 30% of the audience click that, and other 70% of the audience. So that's kind of nice for us to know who is watching. So thank you all for responding. And then, Brian, I'd love to maybe ask you about the new deliverable and kind of what your advice would be for others starting with Foleon right now. You did mention the transition, but I believe that from paper to digital, you took about 2 years. Is that right? Would you recommend others to take that in case they are transitioning?
Oh, and yeah, I'd like to kind of talk through that a little bit. I wouldn't say that we were paper and we are now totally digital. It's worked well to work really kind of hand in hand. And I would, if we ever are like strictly digital, in the future, that'll be fine. But right now, we're still doing publications for audiences that need publications. I mean, grandma's never going to be satisfied with a graduation digital PDF. They still want the booklet. So there are still a lot of pieces that we are doing, and we will do those. We'll do the publication piece, like I said, collect the assets, and then we run a second job, which will be the digital version. And what we're finding is, for a lot of our annual, be like annual reports or admissions document, we'll do those. They'll do maybe a smaller run, but we have a digital version that we can distribute extremely widely. It's been a real point of pride for the leadership here to say, look, I've got this really nice digital doc that talks about, most recently we did a 5-year kind of a summation of our strategic plan. What did we accomplish in those years? And it was a fairly long report. We had a very, very nice Foleon doc that was able to be widely distributed, and for really very, very little extra money. So
that's great. Yeah, so you do kind of have the benefit of being able to reach a wider audience by adding a digital publication, and save costs because you can print lower numbers.
Absolutely. And with admissions, that's even better. So I was bragging about our award-winning view book that we're so proud of here. That can only really reach 50,000, I think is what we print, and we have to pick and select who gets one. Now everyone, including the people who receive a print version, receive a digital version of that view book. We can send to 220,000 students. And I think it would be pretty easy to say the ROI on that is what I would call a no-brainer. If you're able to send 220 out, you're going to make really pay for the whole platform every year.
Yeah. Well, those numbers actually surprised me even, Brian. So that's fantastic. A great question comes in. So let me throw that in. It came in through the chat. What extra possibilities do you use, like video, that won't be possible on paper?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Foleon's wonderful for embedding video. the animation, I think, of the you know, whether it's you know, numbers or images, it keeps people interested, keeps people on the screen. I think for annual reports that we do, charts and this kind of thing, I think the motion is really engaging, that we're able, the animations are wonderful. We often use video as kind of that intro splash page. And yeah, when we talk about accessibility a little bit later, yeah, we can kind of get into the importance of that, you know. But yeah, video, I think I think you probably nailed it. Video is probably the thing that we can do there. We can also link, you know, link to maybe a relevant podcast that we've created on campus, or
yeah, you could even have contact forms, social media buttons. Yeah. But let's have a look at your doc in a moment. Okay. Brian, are you up for a few more questions?
Absolutely. Let's go.
Yeah, they start coming in. Is there one content type you'd recommend other universities as a can't miss? Maybe the use case you think has been the most impactful for ISU?
Oh, this isn't going to be a fun answer, because I already said it. ViewBook use case is our big one. Just being able to explain that, oh, we can take this content that is you know, objectively so good, you know, and amplify it across you know, and reach people that we haven't been able to reach before. Yeah, that's the biggest use case. And when I think about, you know, not only the ViewBook with admissions document, but also, oh, you know, booklets like or publications like dining and living and things about, you know, student lifestyle. We can really do more with that than ever before, and you know, reach that younger, you know, student audience in kind of a different way, because, you know, while we now know, you know, people, you know, all ages, you know, do like publications. You know, some will prefer the digital, and I want to be everywhere. I want to, you know, we want to be cross platform.
That's great. Actually, I do have a slide with some like an overview of what we as Foleon see other universities make in Foleon. So let me just quickly touch on that. In terms of the use cases or the goals the universities have with Foleon, we see 4 in general, and of course more is possible. With admissions is a big one, so a ViewBook, brochures that could be even different course brochures, admission handbook, course catalogs. Brian just mentioned they have Foleon Docs on the lifestyle and campus activities, you name it. Brand marketing is possible. And in terms of strategies, so some of these use cases or content types are more university specifics, but you may see that in these use cases and content types, you know, brochures is not industry specific, or newsletter is not industry specific, but alumni magazine, yes, that's more towards universities, but magazine, any industry could make that. So this is just a quick overview of the 4 main use cases that we see kind of being popular among other university customers. So community engagement and fundraising are the final 2. But no, by no means you need to make all of this at the same time.
Yeah, those are all areas where we will, you know, those that we haven't, we probably will in the future. We're, you know, in the silent phase of you know, thinking about the next campaign, and so I know I'm going to be using Foleon extensively for, you know, those case statements and pieces like that. So, but great, we're really doing a lot with President's Office and annual reports, like our DEI annual report is is a big one that we do, where we talk about what we're doing in that space, and anything that you want to amplify, any publication that you want to amplify the effect of that publication. Foleon's a great place to be.
That's great. And I had started another poll, so let's see what the results are. Are you using paper in combination with Foleon Docs? Paper only, 0 answers. Digital only, 37%. Both, and we'd like to transition to digital only, 20%. That is actually quite a large percentage. So you must be great inspiration there, Brian. And both, and we're happy to continue with both, 44%. So, and while I mentioned these percentages, people started answering more, so they may be not totaling 100%. But it's great to see the responses, and thank you for putting in your answers. Another question came in, Brian.
Sure.
It's by Gabriel. Where can we see the award-winning ebook?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think we're going to see it. We're going to see it now, or not now, but
yeah, I think this is a great bridge to the video. But also, I think the award was won for the paper version. Wasn't that what was won last year?
Yeah, that was what was entered into the competition, and for you in higher ed, you'll know Case Circle of Excellence, and it's an international competition, and so yeah, that's
great.
I think you'll notice the thing about it is there are a lot of ways into every topic, a splashy headline, imagery, fun fact, and I think that's maybe the secret sauce of it. So.
Yeah, so they've created that into a Foleon Doc, and about that Foleon Doc, we had one of our digital designers create a review. So that's what I'm going to play in just a moment. Is there anything you want to add before I switch there?
No, I think I might have oversold it though. So prepare to, if you see it, you're like, that's an award-winning view book. Are you kidding me? I hope you like it.
Let everyone judge for themselves, but yeah,
exactly.
The admissions view book. Here it comes.
Thanks.
Hi everyone, welcome to this doc design review. My name is Wessel and I'm a digital designer here at Foleon. And today we're going to be taking a look at this view book, made by one of our customers in higher education. This doc was made by the awesome people over at Illinois State University. Their primary goal with this doc is to provide information to attract and gain new potential students. In terms of their navigation setup, you can see they use a linear approach. This is supported by the arrows in the bottom right, and no direct way to jump through the document quickly. The navigation makes it so the reader feels more guided through the document. It is clear they want this doc to be read from A to Z. I'm personally not sure if this is the best navigation type we can use in this case, since the more guided approach does not really fit the content type. You want the reader to be able to hop to the parts that are interesting to them. Non-linear navigation allows the reader to pick their own path through the document, kind of like with a website. Already on this page, we can see one of the main aspects that makes this document super engaging from the start. That amazing background video they are using drags in the attention and sets the standard for what can be expected throughout this doc. That element of movement is such an amazing addition to a document. Most docs have a lot of copy, and just having this copy can make the doc feel very static. Adding in that element of life can really break that. To see one other way that we can use movement to our Foleon doc, all that we need to do is skip to any other page. Here you see that Illinois State University has given each page a fitting header. When we start scrolling, we can see that the image does not scroll at the same speed as the rest of the content. This effect is called the parallax effect, or the background scroll speed within Foleon. Playing around with this setting makes the block background image scroll at a slower speed than the content in front of it. It is like a window through your content and creates depth within your pages. One more thing that I love about this doc is the engagement they have created for their social media channels. They make these very easy to access, wherever you are in the document. In the top right corner in the navigation bar, you will find that they have added all of their social media channels for you to access. Since this navigation bar is always visible, they made sure that seeing one of their social media pages is always one click away. At the bottom of each page, we will also find more connection to social media. These buttons can be used when you want to share the document on your own social media. Again, one simple click away. So, to the Illinois State University team, wonderful job on this document. It is super interactive, well designed, and very engaging. Simply put, an awesome way to provide information to attract and gain new potential students. Now, as a suggestion as a way to potentially improve this doc, is to add a little favicon or a browser icon. Right now, we have the general icon for web pages without a browser icon set, but we can easily add our own personalized icon here. This will add an extra little bit of branding and recognizability when you have 20 tabs open. One more thing I would love to see differently is hidden on page 7, and that is exactly what I would change. If we open up this overlay in the header, we can see an amazing looking hotspot map of the campus. Like I said, it's hidden. We have such an amazing hotspot map, so I would put it on the page itself and not hidden behind an overlay. But overall, this is an amazing doc, and again compliments to the Illinois State University team for creating such a wonderful doc. And for everyone that tuned into this design review, thank you for watching.
So that was a little overview of the admissions viewbook. I think it's a great one, and the tips that Wessel gave, like the favicon, that is actually one that I see so many times that people forget. So it may just be a hidden setting that I want to point out to all of you. And the hotspot map, Brian, I thought that was such a stunning map. Overlays are great, but if you have such an incredible piece of content, yeah, it's truly unique. So well done.
Yeah. And I'd like to say that the fact that you know, your crew at Foleon is always giving us advice on ways that we can next level is something that's really helped us a lot, because we have been back and forth with different folks at Foleon, you know, asking questions. What are you know, ways to make things better? You know, a treatment that we might not have thought of, and that's helped us get where we are now. And I obviously we have even, you know, more room for improvements that we can make to these docs.
There's always something different that can be tried out, right?
Absolutely.
How important, Brian, is accessibility for you and your audience?
Well, at Illinois State, as a public university, we need to have, you know, all of our documents have to be accessible to, you know, people who are, you know, sight impaired, and it's very important. It's not a nice to have. It's they must be accessible to screen readers, and our folks are well. We're sticklers about it. In fact, we have a dedicated web accessibility person, and we had in the past looked at different platforms like ILSTU and others, and they would never make the cut for accessibility. But Foleon was just incredible the way that they worked like hand in hand with this person. I even got on a call to Europe with Joost, who is the CTO, and we talked through he talked through some of the issues with our accessibility person. And so that kind of, you know, that kind of access to expertise has been really super helpful to us. One of the issues with accessibility is video, and specifically, I love the sweeping kind of video intros at the beginning. It's like very engaging. It says, "Oh, you know, come look at this content," but that can cause problems for people with certain conditions. So the legal, I guess, amount of time that we can have video is actually five seconds for those kinds of intros, and that meets the accessibility standard. And then it becomes a static image, so as not to you know overstimulate, you know, folks.
Yeah.
So working through some of those issues with Foleon has been very helpful, and I can tell you our team, our web team are you know, like I said, sticklers. You know, I mean, if it's not 100% accessible, it's not going to play here at Illinois State, and Foleon made that cut.
Cool. Yeah, that's very good to hear. And I didn't know about the 5 seconds, so very interesting kind of like nugget of insight. And yeah, it probably depends on whether you have to be accessible, because designing for accessibility, of course, requires a little bit of a different aspect to take into account when you just want to have the most engaging design, which probably won't work for accessibility. So it's great to hear that your team has figured out how to make that work to stay within the requirements. And yeah, Foleon does have a set of features to also accommodate to that.
We want to have it all, Lobke. We want to, it's be accessible and be great.
Yes,
we can have this. We can have it all.
I think, as far as I could tell, you're doing a great job. So well done. Brian, we have a few more audience questions.
Sure.
And let me see. How do you measure the success of having switched over to Foleon?
Oh, I think that you're probably like looking for a KPI and some data here. I can tell you, we could measure that with cost savings in many departments. Many departments, are very happy with our digital projects and the amount of money that they've saved from those projects. I'm getting awesome response from the president's office, which is always nice for one's career. So far, I don't have any sophisticated KPIs to share with you this morning, though. Sorry about that.
I think you shared 2 with us already, though, that usually when you send out print, you have a maximum of 50,000, around about that number to send out. Mm-hmm. Now your audience
reach so many more students, with that robust Foleon doc.
Great, thank you, and thank you as well for asking the question. I have a few more questions that have come in. They come in from chat, so I can't show them on the screen. Do you use Foleon Docs to promote institutional events such as commencement, career fairs, convocation, TEDx talks, etc.?
Yeah, we haven't yet, but it's definitely right, ripe for that. Yeah.
It's a great thing to do with Foleon.
Even as I was saying, how grandma, likes to see the printed name, in the brochure, when her daughter granddaughter graduates. Why we have that content? Why shouldn't we have a Foleon doc that can be shared with all the other relatives in the group? So there's more. I feel like we're really just kind of getting started.
Yeah, the possibilities and opportunities are endless. But I'm not sure who asked that question, but just want to make a quick connection. In the Foleon Academy, we have repurposed 2 brochure webinars. So my apologies, to one webinar about event communications. So that may be a great inspiration for using Foleon for institutional events, to see kind of how Foleon can be used for event promotion. And then the final question for now is, wondering if the headlines were text or graphics.
Oh, yeah. I want to say that. Hey, is this an opportunity where we could introduce the designer?
Absolutely. Who would you like?
Let's go with Mike. I think Mike, didn't you design? Hey.
Hi, Mike. Welcome on board.
You worked a lot on that, and that was one of our first Foleon docs, actually, wasn't it?
That was our first Foleon doc. Yes, that was one of the ones I worked on. And to answer the question, yeah, I was kind of reading the chats here. So it was kind of interesting how we got around that, because our view book has these really great headlines and has this really great font that's kind of like a brushstroke. And obviously, we can't make that live type. So the way we did is that first headline that you're seeing that's laying over the image, that is actually not live type. That's an image. But the way we got around it is if you'll notice on the red bar, underneath the kind of main header images, we have almost like a duplicate headline. So we took that headline that was big and upfront, and we kind of duplicated it down below. It's not identical, but it's basically giving you the same information, and that was kind of our workaround to make it accessible, but still make it have that visual impact that we wanted.
That is amazing. So I could quickly show the beginning of that video again for everyone to understand what headline we're talking about. Is that the one on the first page?
Yeah, it would be the one. So any of the main pages after the video opening.
After the intro.
Yeah, after the intro. So you could go to page 1 or 2 or any of them. We kind of duplicated it on all pages because that was a stumbling block that we had to kind of figure out because we really wanted to keep that headline because that font is a big part of our branding for our admissions, and that's something we didn't want to lose. But again, there was no way it was going to be accessible, so we found this nice little workaround.
That is fantastic. Let me quickly show 5-10 seconds for everyone to see the actual font we're talking about.
Hi everyone, welcome to this doc design.
That's it, I believe, right? Illinois State.
Yeah. I mean, similar, but yes, it was the first page. If you, if they have the link to the Foleon document, if you go to any page after that, so 2 basically through 12, all of them have those main photo headers, and you'll see what I'm talking about. How we have this main header that's over the photo, and then right below it we kind of have a duplicate header. So.
Fantastic. Well, my promise to the audience, you will get the link to their Foleon doc. It will be sent out about 30 minutes as soon as we finish this webinar, and it will also include the video and some other links. So everyone will get that soon. Nice. Well, Mike, thanks for jumping on. And could you quickly share what your role is at Illinois State University?
Yeah, sure. I am a graphic designer. I am the employee that has been there for 20 plus years that we were talking about earlier. And I was kind of one of the early adopters of Foleon. I worked on the print version of the view book along with one of our other designers, Evan. And I took our print and put it into Foleon, and actually that was the first thing that we ever did. And I would not recommend doing something that big for your first Foleon doc, because really I built it, and then after I got done build it, I had learned so much stuff in building it that I kind of had to go back and rebuild it. So it was a great learning experience, but it took a little bit longer than it probably should have.
Yeah, so a good recommendation to start maybe with like a small and
start a little bit smaller. Yeah.
That's a good one. Well, thank you, Mike, for jumping on. And maybe let me just introduce the next poll that I've started. It's how hard is it for you to stand out among competitors in your industry? Because that is something that Illinois State University seems to do really well with their mix of content and formats, both digital and print. So while the results pour in, I actually, from kind of like our experience at Foleon, want to highlight a few kind of like one other opportunity. So this is an opportunity we see as like a trend in other industries that none of our education or university customers yet leverage. So this is kind of like, again, how different industries can really learn and get inspiration from each other. And it's a content hub. So I don't have an actual example from a customer in education, but basically it's making one Foleon doc with the different Foleon docs around a certain purpose. So if admissions is your use case, you could place all the content that you have for students to help them select the right university, of course, your university, in one place. So they have this one content hub. And I have another short video. This one is less than a minute to quickly show you a content hub and what that would look like. So that is some inspiration, maybe for you guys from Illinois State, maybe for other people that I want to bring in.
Yeah, I was going to say very cool, and yeah, it's good to know about that, and something that we're definitely going to be interested in. So thanks for sharing that.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I'm quickly having a look if there are more questions. Not at the moment, but the poll results are interesting. So for the majority of the people, 58%, it's actually very challenging. So I'm sad to hear that, and I'd love to kind of learn more about that, but that's not the kind of this is not that kind of conversation. But sorry to hear that, and not challenging as well for 21%, and we're the thought leaders also for 21%. So we definitely have a healthy mix of people at different stages in their journey of standing out. So thank you all for answering that. It's very interesting.
This is a quick comment. I think as a creative leader, it's incumbent upon you to always be looking for ways to stretch, and as our creative folks, trying to find ways to be making sure that we're relevant and that we're staying engaged with new platforms. So I encourage everyone, and it's messy, and you're going to go down a road and find out for some reason it's not going to work for you, and we do that all the time. But we're constantly looking for solutions, like Foleon, that so we can next level our shop.
That's great. Thank you, Mike. Do you have any piece of advice for people that still struggle to stand out? Sorry, I'll just unmute you. There you go.
Okay. The video option is really great. That's something that we struggle to use, like Brian talked about. We can only kind of use a very small portion of it, but we use it almost in every instance we can, and it's really kind of a wow factor. So we love using that. As far as usability, I heard some people say that it's that's kind of hard to learn. And one of the ways that I learned it, I thought fairly quickly, was you have a great resource in templates. And I always thought the templates were a great way to use, because not only does it allow you not to start from zero, so you're starting from something instead of zero, but it also, you can see how Foleon is built and how it's constructed, and those templates kind of just gave me a huge jump start. When I first started designing, and I used them a lot. I still use them a lot, but especially in the beginning, I used them a ton.
That's great. Yeah, any of the templates you can adjust to, even if they're like other content types, you can adjust them to what you need it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I always start with the template. It's much easier than just starting completely from scratch. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Lobke, could we talk to Sean perhaps also about getting up to speed and learning curve, because I think that's important. We need to know a little bit more about that.
Sean, welcome. Welcome to this webinar, and I'd love to hear your take on this as well.
Thank you, Lobke. Thank you for having me. And again, I'm Sean Thornton. I'm a graphic designer for Illinois State University, and I've used Foleon for a couple different projects. And the best way for to me to get started in it is, like Mike was suggesting, starting from one of your excellent templates that you have available to people was a fantastic starting point for me. And also keeping in contact with you all at Foleon when you have a question and there's something you can't quite figure out, or you have a bit of a learning curve. You guys have been excellent in responding to our needs and our questions to help us get over those sort of design humps that we find ourselves up against sometimes. So I think those are the two best ways to get going.
That's very interesting to hear. And I'm the customer education manager, so last year I was a big part of the launch of the Foleon Academy, which didn't exist when you all onboarded on the platform. But now we have a lot of courses and training material available on demand for all users, but especially new users. Nice. Well, It's been really good to have you all online during this webinar. We're close to wrapping it up. So any final thoughts or nuggets about standing out in your industry or transforming or transitioning from paper to digital that you feel like we've missed?
I think just in summary, you don't have to be all or nothing. It's a transition. You can dip your toe, in the water, experiment, try some Foleon online docs. It's really it's if you're in an Adobe environment right now, it's there for you. As an administrator, find your early adopters and your people who want to make that transition, and let them play in the sandbox, get up to speed, and you, at the end of that curve, you're going to have a great ROI product that you can take to the executives and save a lot of money and get a much broader reach for the content that you're already creating. So there it is.
Thank you, Brian. Mike or Sean, anything to add?
I don't have it. No.
Thank you.
Thanks for featuring us today, Lobke. We appreciate it. And if there are one-on-one questions, other questions that come about, we're happy to answer those emails. Any one of us, Mike and Sean for the technical stuff.
Oh, it's so great to have you all. And now actually 2 more questions poured in. So do you have 2 more minutes to answer those?
Sure.
Okay. Did you ever consider making mini sites on your website for your docs?
Oh, do I understand the question right? Making like a microsite, is that what they're asking?
That is my understanding, yes.
Yeah. Yes, it is something that we've looked at. And in fact, I think I have another story I can share here. I just did an annual report for our fundraising unit last year, kind of at the same time, and it was a hard coded HTML annual report. I think we spent like $27,000 on it, and when I finished that project, I was kind of like, we could have done this in a Foleon doc. It's a microsite. We could have probably done the whole thing in Foleon, and put that money in our pocket. So if you're doing microsites, this is a good opportunity, especially with some of the data visualization that are coming on board. I'm very excited about those. Those kind of add to any kind of annual report. Data that sometimes isn't as fun, but we love it when it moves around. So.
That's great. Another question: do you also use Foleon for magazines for your employees with stories, interviews, etc.? If so, do you have a limit on the length of a page in relation to keeping the interest of the reader?
Yeah. To Mike and Sean, have we done any magazine? We haven't done our full alumni magazine yet, but that's coming. But have you guys done any like larger publications yet?
The DEI annual report is probably the largest publication that we translated from print to Foleon on my part.
What would you have to say about maybe like longer copy and how that can work, making that work in the Foleon environment?
I think Foleon translates from print to digital excellently, and there's wonderful tools to have large amounts of copy if need be. I know on the annual report there were several spreads that translated fairly easily to importing large amounts of copy into the Foleon template. So by breaking them out into different columns within certain blocks and shifting your blocks around however you need them, breaking them up with imagery, just like you would do in a print publication. It's a really translatable sort of skill set going from print to Foleon. So I found no problem with it.
We do have a small segment of our population who would like to print it out, print out a Foleon and read it, but the folks at Foleon have accommodated us with that too. You can print them as well.
Do you mean?
I'm sorry?
Do you mean that you can print a PDF version?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Great. In terms of time, thank you again so much. Thank you everyone for the questions. I apologize if we didn't get to your question, but feel free to reach out, connect to these excellent men, and get some more insights. Before we jump off, I just want to let you know that we have another webinar coming up. It's April 2nd, where we will share all about our product updates, and that will kind of tell you what's new in Foleon, what is new for you to engage your audiences, and more on that later. And if you would be so kind to fill out the survey, which is anonymous if you don't share your email address, but now you can also share your email address, and you'll be redirected there as soon as we end this webinar. So Brian, Mike, Sean, thank you so much for joining. It's been a real pleasure. And you online, thank you very much for being here, for engaging with the polls, for asking your questions, and wishing you all the best in making incredible, engaging online content.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.